Hi everybody. I want to get you started on your project proposal, so I'm going to walk you through the instructions to at least get that started. The rest of the details about your project, the rubric, all of the little nitty-gritty details, that's going to come out a little bit later once I finalize the changes that we're making based on this year. But I want you to get started with the proposal, so I'm going to break that down to you. It's going to be done in two different parts. Part one, where you're going to just turn this into me, then we're going to spend some time in class talking one-on-one and in your groups about how we can maybe narrow your focus, maybe get a better idea of what's going on, and then you're going to resubmit that as a final research question along with the rest of the introduction a little bit later. So the first part, just the proposal, is due on Monday the 11th. It gives you about a week, and this doesn't have to be all the details. This is just a basic question, a population and a parameter. It's going to be 2 or 3 sentences that you're going to submit. You're going to do this right in this form. Okay, don't turn this in handwritten. You're going to put it right in this form so I can make comments, we can edit, I can share that back to you, and it's going to be a living, working document rather than a scrap piece of paper. Okay, so just type that right in here. This will bump down. We'll be all set. So this is an example of what I might look at. I will say that the math of mine would be a little bit beyond the scope of what we've learned, but if you need to do something like this or you want to do something like this, I can show you how. It's just a slightly different variation of some other things that we'll do. I will say though, the scope of mine is a little bit small. So I'm only looking at 20 years worth of data, and what I'm looking at, I already have a spreadsheet. It's really easy for me to calculate those things and not have to make an inference. The real big goal of yours, again, is that you're going to look at a small sample to make an inference about a larger population. And so my research question here might be, is the typical winning team score for girls District 3 AAA cross-country championships different with 3 classifications than it was with only 2? So about 8 years ago, 9 years ago now, PIAA split cross-country from a 2 classification sport to a 3 classification sport. I don't want to know if that's changed the typical winning score. Okay. In a significant way. So year to year, that score is different. I'm looking for significance, and that's what you should keep in mind as well. My population and parameter, and this is where things might look a little bit different. My population would be all winning team scores, and I said for the last 20 years, because 20 years ago, things were just different in girls' sports, and we've expanded and made some other changes that make this a little bit different. Okay. The parameter is the true mean difference in winning score. And so this is where I'd have to get a little fancier with my math. Yours is really going to be a true mean something or a true proportion of something. Those are really your 2 options here. If you do want to look at differences, I know some of you may be comparing people over different time periods, things like that. That's okay. Just talk to me about that. You can put that in here now. That's why we're doing this proposal first, so that you understand what to expect. That's all that has to go here now. You're going to put this in this document. Do not turn this into me on a piece of paper. You're going to type this in the document. You're going to return that to me in Google Classroom so that I can make comments, so that we can sit down and work on it together in class. This is going to be a living, working document. Okay, you're going to make changes, we're going to make edits, okay, and then we're going to go through that whole process together. Just type that right in here. This part 2 will bump down. That's going to be due the next Friday, Friday the 15th. By that point, we'll have had a chance to talk. You're going to finalize your research question. Now, if something happens between Friday the 15th and the end of the marking period, we'll deal with it. But I'd like you to have, by the end of that week, a pretty solidified idea of what you want to do. So you're going to rephrase your research question. If it's the same thing, we'll just copy and paste. Same thing with population and parameter. If it's the same as up here, we'll copy and paste. But if we've made any tweaks, you'll keep your proposal. We're not going to get rid of the proposal. We're going to put the actual stuff down here. And then down below, you're going to type a few paragraphs, paragraph or 2, about these questions. Why does this topic interest you? What do you hope to find out by performing this study? Will the results of this study have an impact beyond the classroom? Okay, this is a formal writing thing. This is not your thoughts or your notes. This is sentences and paragraphs and structure and punctuation and all those kinds of things. So I want that to be worked on. That's not just a first draft I threw together. You will have a chance to edit that before it goes into your final project that you turned in. So it's not a final draft, but there should be some thought put into that beyond jotting down some thoughts. That's why we're, again, putting it in this document and not handwritten on a separate sheet of paper. All right. So again, focus right here on part one for the next week, really. I'll post this in Google Classroom with that due date, and then we'll adjust it. So take your time, ask me if you have any questions, and we'll talk to you later.